Hello and welcome to another episode of Darwin Investors. So I've taken a couple weeks out from recording videos, and the main reason, actually the only reason, is because of the whole Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's kind of like hit me pretty hard, as far as like, it's emotionally taxing. I watch a lot of the videos, and I see a lot of the news, and I see a lot of the stuff that's happening, and it's kind of hard then to concentrate on something like the stock market. At least for me, it is. It's not for me. Money is like like for this particular account that I have here in the stock market that I talk about on this channel with this Schwab account. This isn't like money that I need to live off of. It's not really money I need to retire off of. It's basically just something I do for fun. Some people hike, go bowling, go fishing, go camping or whatever, and I try to beat up the stock market. That's what I do for fun. And so like I said, it's fun to make money. I have enough where if I make twice as much, it doesn't change anything in my life. If I try to talk to, say, my wife about stocks, I'll be like, "Hey Heidi, I sure lost a lot of money today in the stock market." She'll be like, "Uh-huh. Did you hear that Kanye West has a new girlfriend?" So then she'll hit me with something that I don't care about, right? And to retaliate. And so I actually have this channel just so I can at least get my voice out there to somebody who might care about stocks and that sort of thing. So yeah, the Ukraine crisis and watching all of the gallantry and the heroics that are coming out of the people of that nation is just, it's mind-blowing, how brave those people are over there, and the level at which that they're resisting. I guess Russia thought they would just be able to roll in there and inside of a week just overthrow that government because they would be on the run. The government would be on the run. They put in their own puppet government. Their own soldiers were told they were just going to be going in for a training exercise, and they weren't going to have to fight at all. They were very surprised to find gunfire coming back in their direction because they were told that they were going to go to liberate them and an exercise, and that isn't the case at all. And so, I mean, in fact, you got Ukrainians coming from all over this planet breaking into Ukraine to go fight in this war against Russia. You've got boxers that they don't need to go in there and do this. Tennis players, former tennis players going in there. Miss Ukraine is in there fighting with she's got a gun. You got this President Zelensky who's like, who wouldn't want to follow that guy, by the way? I mean, what an awesome leader. But I mean, here's a guy, he's a former comedian who's now taking up arms as president of Russia, fighting, like leading the fight. And I can't wait for all these comedians are going to get this big old chip on their shoulder, like, "Oh yeah, I'm a comedian, I'm going to get you," So there's going to be a lot of those kind of skits coming out, I predict, from comedians. But like, or UK is being invaded, I'm going to Ricky Gervais's house, something like that, But this guy has just been such an inspiration, I think, to the troops. I think he's a lot of the reason why they're fighting that, and they've been fighting him for like 8 years. They kicked him out once in 2014. They'll do it again. Even if Russia takes every single city in Russia, they're just never going to win. The insurgencies are going to be too much to bear. And then I'm watching a lot of these videos, and maybe it's propaganda, I don't know. I tend to think that probably it isn't too much anyway, that the show of love that even in the face of bullets that the Ukrainians give towards these Russian soldiers that don't know why they're there. A lot of them, they're giving them, they're showing compassion for these people that are coming across the border. Like, do you even know why you're here? And a lot of them, they're like, "No, I just was told I was going to liberate you guys. We don't need liberating. Why don't you go home?" And so the Ukrainians are just showing so much spirit. It kind of makes you wish you were Ukrainian. But so it made it hard for me to talk about stocks, and especially in light of the fact last week, right before on Saturday, I was going to make a video, but on Thursday and Friday, the stock market went up in a straight line. And so I wasn't going to sit here in light of innocent people being shelled by Russian missiles talk about how much money I'm making in the stock market, because I'm sure we all were last week. This week's a different story. This week was pretty bad. So, but last week, it was just poor taste. So I took a week off. But what we're going to talk about today, let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, so all right. So what we'll be getting into today is, like I said, it was the invasion of Ukraine. What effect has this had on commodity prices? Ways that you can take that you can work the market to take advantage of some of these commodity prices. Like I've already alluded to, I believe that Russia has lost this war. They just haven't gotten the memo yet. What do I believe that means for equities as soon as everybody realizes that they've lost this war? So what am I doing now in the stock market? And what I believe is, as a bonus addition, what I believe is coming up next, what I hope is not coming up next for policymakers, but what I believe could come next for policymakers. So let's go ahead and talk about oligarchs for a second. So Russia, when the Soviet Union dissolved, there was a group of people that were surrounding the Russian president Boris Yeltsin, and they became essentially what was called now the oligarchs, but they were basically had the nation's wealth divided in a certain amount of parts, maybe like 16 parts or something like that. And today these billionaires control about 30% of the nation's wealth. Some of these oligarchs might be this guy here, Alisher Usmanov, and he controls the largest copper deposit in the world. He's also built his wealth through metals and mining operation, as well as investments. You've also got this Oleg Deripaska. He's also characterized as the victor in the aluminum wars in Russia during the 1990s. I say aluminum, but it says right here aluminum. I actually I took chemistry in England, and I made the mistake of saying aluminum once when somebody said aluminium, and the instructor said to me, he got really mad. This will piss off a chemistry instructor in England. You correct them on how to say aluminium, and they'll be like, think about it, every other element in the world, helium, potassium, sodium, aluminium. So just because you leave the I off of it doesn't mean I'm saying it wrong. And so yeah, so that taught me a lesson. So fine, aluminium. So this guy, he's won the aluminum wars over there. So you can see that Russia is really into mining and that sort of thing. So how can you take advantage of that in the stock market? Well, you look up aluminum stocks, and here's Alcoa. That would be one. How has Alcoa done? Well, Alcoa in the last month has gone from $63 to $90. Okay, so that's up 42% in 1 month. Alcoa, geez, in 1 month, 42%. How about other mineral stocks? Freeport-McMoRan, we're talking about a copper producer. One of the oligarchs was a copper guy. Let's see what it's gone from. It's gone from 38 to 50 in 1 month. What about, let's see some of the steel producers. How about Nucor stock? Okay, that's not Nucor. How about Nucor stock? Nucor has gone in the past month from $111 to $138 a share. How about Cleveland Cliffs, CLF stock? That one's gone in the past month from $19 to $25.95. So when looking at some of these stocks, you say, well, they've gone up in a straight line. Are they a good deal still? Are they not a good deal? Not really sure. So we look at something like Freeport-McMoRan, which has gone from 38 to 50. We look and see it's got a price to earnings ratio right here of 17.27. It's pays a dividend yield of 0.75%. Is that a good deal or not? Well, you can look up the historic price to earnings ratio of Freeport-McMoRan. You can see it's currently trading at 17, and you can see that it might be a tiny bit on the high side, but should you decide to get in it on this level, you may not necessarily be losing any money. I might wait for a pullback, but I also think that Russia's lost this war. So that's just my opinion. They could definitely soar, but that's one way. This would be a couple of ways to play minerals and mining commodities if that's what you choose to do. Now, these aren't not the kind of stocks that I get into. These aren't the stocks that excite me. Oil stocks, energy stocks, those, of course, a couple of others, uh, there'll be Chevron, Conoco, Devon Energy, Pioneer, Diamondback Energy, all these things, they don't excite me. People drilling for oil doesn't excite me as a company. I'm not going to put my money there because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing when you invest in stocks. You're investing in companies. And those sorts of companies just don't excite me. But should you be trying to make money in the short term or should you be trying to make a trade? These are good companies to get into. Chevron's already gone up, what, $20 in the last what, month or so? Let me see, CCVX. With Chevron gone up in 1 month. Here I thought they were overvalued at $138. Now they're sitting at $158. So what do I know? Not a financial advisor, but this would make it a great trade. Other things that you can do, you can see that what world's production volume of nitrogen fertilizer in the world. You can see Russia's up pretty high in that. How are fertilizer stocks doing? Well, 5 best fertilizer stocks to buy now. Mosaic Company makes fertilizers, held in 40 hedge funds. And let's see here, what's the last one? CF Industries, held in 49 hedge funds. So if you look here at Mosaic Company in the last month, it's gone from $44 to $59. You can get in the fertilizer business. You could get in the CF Industries. That was their number one choice, went from $72 to $91. What else does Russia make? So they make oil, they make minerals and mining, they make fertilizer. They also make coal. That's on their list here. Let's see, they're about number 6 or 7 down the list. Are there any coal stocks that are very interesting? Well, we got this Alpha Metallurgical Resources. Let's see how they're doing. They've gone AMR on the New York Stock Exchange. In 1 month, they've gone from $76 to $216. Okay, yeah, this is crazy. 51% in 1 month. That's what these guys have done. I don't think that's earnings, folks. I think that's somebody taking advantage, or they're moving all their money into commodities. You got the top wheat producing countries in the world. You got Russia sitting here at number 3. Think that's going to affect the wheat production in the world? Probably will. So you've got another wheat fund here that you can use. Ticker symbol, clever here, WEAT, wheat. It's gone in the last month from $7.44 to $10.83, an increase of 45%. So you can get into wheat. So these are different ideas. There's always a way to try and make a little bit in the stock market. And when I talk about, has Russia lost this war? I just remembered I have this over here. This is the ruble. Look at this. 1 penny. A ruble is equal to 1 penny. Now you may say it's dropped off a cliff, but it was never that much to begin with. It's always been about a penny. I think in its best days, like the heyday of the ruble, looks like 4 cents. This thing's cheaper than Dogecoin. So yeah, so the ruble is like falling off a cliff. If you look at it here in the last, say, year, bam, straight down as a result of this. Their economy is simply deteriorating. They got Visa and MasterCard won't do business there. You've got different companies that aren't doing business there. You got the spirits companies that aren't doing business there. Sports teams don't want to go there. Sporting events aren't going to be going there. The boycott of the entertainment industry. We got boycott of media, like basically people are turning off Sputnik and RT. We got boycotts of retail, like stores don't want to go over there anymore. Volkswagen doesn't want to sell there. Porsche, Lamborghini doesn't want to sell there. You've got Apple and Nike don't want to sell there anymore. And it would be interesting to see what Apple and Nike would do if this was China invading Taiwan rather than this. It's okay to be like, oh, okay, I'm on your side so long as you don't make any money there. But I would like to think they would show the same sort of intestinal fortitude up against China as they do here. Doubt they would, but it'd be nice to see if they would. The airline industry, of course, there's no flights in and out of there. Microsoft has announced it's halting all sales of service in Russia. I mean, they're really taking it on the chin. They've completely lost this war. They're going to have insurgencies. I think that this thing is basically, they're going to figure out that they've lost this war here pretty soon. And that's when I expect equities to go up. Now, you've also got the Fed that's going to be talking later on this week. Is there a way to take advantage of the Fed? Well, I went ahead and the Fed, what I mean is them hiking interest rates, and they're going to hike it a quarter point here this week, and they're probably going to be hiking it a quarter point every time they meet for the foreseeable future. I think what they want to do is they want to get it up to about 3%. I think that would make them happy because they believe, I think in the long term, inflation will be 3%. So they're looking for a 3% rate, interest rates and a 3% inflation. I think that's what the long-term goal of the Fed's going to be. Can they ever get it up to 3%? Don't really know. I think inflation, but for sure, will come down to 3%. But every time that they're going to try and jack up this free money to guaranteed return of 3% right now in this market, those people are going to buy those bonds like crazy. So good luck cranking it up this high, but they're going to continue trying to do it by raising interest rates. But is there a way for you to take advantage of these interest rates and these higher bond yields without actually buying a government bond? Well, there is. So you can. Here is the best Treasury ETFs for Q2 of 2022. These would be your short range ETFs for bonds, 0 to 5 years, this S-tip, V-tip, and B-tip. And so for V-tip, you can see that it's not been trading that much, but again, it's a bond yield. Now, this would be one that if you think it's going to be 0 to 5 years, it's the short-term inflation one. So if it's 0 to 5 years, and you think that we're going to be having an inversion of the yield curve where the 2-year note's going to be higher than the 10-year note, and we're going to go into a recession, this would be the bond for you. You can go ahead and grab one of these. It's out there. It's available. I'm not buying it, but I'm just saying I'm not a financial advisor. But if you believe that the 2-year is going to be higher than the 10-year, here's a bond for you. You can also go ahead and buy the 7 to 10-year Treasury bonds. You can see that this one here is called the Fixed Income IEF Treasury Bond. 7 to 10-year Treasury bond, IEF. Let's see how they're doing. The IEF ETF 7 to 10-year Treasury bond is trading for $113. If you look at it here, another one that's even more common than that is called the TLT. It's also trading on the NASDAQ. You can see that the 6-month for the TLT and the 6-month for the IEF look exactly the same. They're essentially analogs of the 10-year Treasury bond. Well, actually, this was for the 20-year. These are stocks you can go out and buy. So this would be 7 to 10-year, and this would be for the 20-year. But the charts look virtually the same. Is that what I'm going to be doing? Well, no, not exactly. So as I said before, I believe that this war it may not end soon, but I believe that the outcome will become kind of more obvious soon. What's going to happen? It may take a few weeks, but I feel like that the end result's going to become more clear. And so we don't need Russian forces to leave. All we need is for the outcome to be less up in the air. And so for that reason, I'm not going to be going into commodities. I'm going to still be doing what I'm doing. And one of these things with all these prices coming way down, there's no need to go looking for like little diamond in the rough stocks. There's no reason to get too creative about this. Just find the best companies that you can possibly think of, the very best, cream of the crop. Buy them, and then once you have them, this is what I'm doing: is I'm selling covered calls against those equities. I'm also selling cash secured puts. Like I sold one yesterday for AMD with a strike price of $99. So if I should get AMD for $99 a share, I'll happily take it. In the meantime, I'll take your $120 if it doesn't get there. Either way, I'm making money. As the market is crashing, I'm selling covered calls. And what that means is that, like, let's say, for instance, one of my stocks I hold is, say, Microsoft. Microsoft's currently trading about $297. I sold a covered call for $310 strike. So if it goes over 310, I have to sell all my shares of Microsoft for $310 a piece. If it stays under 310, I keep your premium, which is something along the order of 71 bucks. And so basically these things work as little dividends until this market comes around. Last Wednesday, we had what was called a short squeeze. At least I believe that's what it was. I believe it was that because I was squeezed. And so I lost a little money on Wednesday as the market, well, I made more with the market going up, but I was squeezed out of a couple of my short positions as a result of the market going up. And so these can happen, but I do believe that there's going to be a time where the market just starts going up. And so uh, what's next for policymakers? And this is going to be what I call bonus addition to what's already a pretty long video. So one of the things that that could happen here is that what I'm afraid of is that the U.S. sentiment could change on this war, and it could change policy going forward and unity. And the things that I'm really happy about the world supporting um, uh, this Ukraine could hopefully not turn south on us, because basically what's happening is that we have a rising inflation and things are costing more. And as people start paying more for gasoline or more for their heating bills, I'm afraid that sentiment could change against the Ukrainians, and I sure hope it doesn't. If it is going to change in that direction, it's going to be coming from people like this guy here, this Tucker Carlson, and Fox News. They seem to have in the past they've had an affinity for Russia. They've shown that at least this guy. I don't know about Fox News in general. I don't watch a lot of news. I'm not much of a news junkie, if you will, other than finance news. But I know that this guy here, he seems to have a real big affinity for Russia, so much so that Russia Today will actually post Fox News and him on their channel with Russian subtitles. I can go ahead and leave a link in the description if you want, but he's kind of like historically been a Russia sympathizer. And something that this article here is calling like a Tokyo Rose. And Tokyo Rose would be like, she was somebody who was coerced into having to take pro-American sentiment during World War II. But she was a Japanese woman, American-born Japanese, who was forced into doing this for the coercion. But what they're saying is this Tucker Carlson is doing this. He's not being coerced. He just does it. And so there are other people that on this Putin wing, if you will, of what's called the GOP. I know half the people that watch these videos are from around the world, but we have this thing called Fox News on our TV, and the GOP is another name for the Republicans. And so, but they have a couple people on what's called the Putin wing, I guess, Paul Gosar and a Marjorie Taylor Greene, and so. Again, I'm delighted to say that this hasn't been the norm, and that this Tucker Carlson is kind of like a cartoon character. He's actually, his own company that he works for says, according to their lawyers, you can't believe what he says, and that's an argument they used in support of him, is that the man is clearly an idiot. You shouldn't believe what he says. Nevertheless, people do believe. But the argument that they use is Fox persuasively argues that given Mr. Carlson's reputation, any reasonable viewer arrives with an appropriate amount of skepticism about the statement he makes. This is his own attorney saying the man is clearly not believable. Why would you take what he says at face value? But yet people do take him at face value, and this has become so common that it's actually called the Tucker Carlson defense now for slander. It can't be slander if no reasonable person with a normal intellect would believe it. But the problem is that people do believe it. People believe all kinds of weird stuff. I've seen the weirdest things in the world here that people believe. I've seen that they have black lights that go over ballots to see if to look for bamboo, to see if the Chinese are voting in our elections. We have people that believe that Russian satellites are turning, that turned ballots from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. Somehow Russian satellites are able to do this. We have apparently satellites identify as Jewish starting forest fires in California. We've got, Hillary Clinton's got a child sex ring in the basement of a pizza parlor. These are things that people believe. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you, they believe it. And so one of the things I had to do is I had to go see over to Fox to see what are they reporting on these days. And if I'm going to be honest, like right now, it just looks like regular old news. There's nothing. Let me see. Putin makes a bold threat. Let's see here. Turning a blind eye. Blinken issues stern warning to China about their response to invasion. Nothing seems to former Ukrainian ambassador on Putin's kill list as a message for Biden. I don't know, but these guys seem like the type that would basically, in time, if times got tough, would say, well, this invasion's not Putin's fault, it's Biden's fault. And the real invasion isn't people dropping missiles on a nuclear facility in Ukraine. The real invasion is happening through our southern border, where these people are trying to come here and take jobs. You know, even though our unemployment rate is like 3.8%, we just added 648,000 new jobs on Friday. Another reason why interest rates would go up. But this is the sort of thing that would be, I don't know. I'm just curious to see if the tune changes here on this sort of thing. So my biggest concern then would be that with inflation and gas prices going up and the price of heating and that sort of thing going up, there would be a change in sentiment towards, say, the Ukraine folks, and there would be like a change in our political posture. You know, these are the things that concern me, and these are the things that can be exaggerated through the news and that sort of thing, and then like cause a real movement that would be distasteful. So yeah, so I'm not going to be doing too much different going forward. I'm not going to be getting into commodities. I'm going to be staying with stocks. I'm going to be not trying to think too hard about which stocks I'm going to get into. These are going to be the obvious ones. My portfolio right now is Nvidia, Microsoft, Lowe's. Gosh, it's so hard for me to remember which ones I'm in. I go through them so fast. Let's see, JP Morgan, Toll Brothers, AMD, GGPI, Revolve. And I'm sure I'm leaving some out. I just honestly can't remember them. So yeah, and so I'm going to continue selling covered calls on the stocks that I own, selling puts for some stocks I don't own. I just sold, like I said, a put on AMD not too long ago, yesterday actually. And so if you got anything out of this, please like, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye.